Darkness. A flickering desk lamp. Dust swirls in the air as a hand carefully turns the brittle page of an ancient manuscript. The words, inked centuries ago, whisper secrets that were never meant to be uncovered. The young historian leans closer, his heart pounding. The script before him is unlike anything he's seen before. A forgotten text, hidden from the world, untouched by time. Its contents? A lost piece of Islamic knowledge that could rewrite history itself. But then a noise. The historian freezes. Footsteps echo in the hallway. Someone else is here. Someone who doesn't want this knowledge to be found. He has no idea yet, but he's just opened the door to a dangerous game. One that has been played in the shadows for centuries. A secret war fought not with swords, but with knowledge, deception, and silence. And tonight, the battle has just begun. His fingers tremble as he lifts his phone, snapping a quick picture of the manuscript. The ink, faded but legible, carries a weight he can't explain. It speaks of lost wisdom, a knowledge erased from history, secrets of science, philosophy, and something more, something forbidden. Then bang, the door bursts open. A silhouette stands against the dim light, blocking his only exit. A deep voice cuts through the air. Step away from a manuscript. The historian's heart slams against his chest. His mind races. Who are they? How did they know? Instinct takes over. He grabs a manuscript, shoves it into his bag, and bolts. The library's maze of shelves becomes his battleground. Shadows stretching like claws, books tumbling to the floor. Behind him, footsteps. Fast. Closing in. His breath is ragged. His only chance? The emergency exit at the far end of the hall. He lunges for it, shoving the door open. But as he stumbles into the cold night air, he realizes this is only the beginning. The night air is sharp against his skin, but there's no time to think. They're still after him. He sprints down the alley, heart pounding, the manuscript clutched in his bag. Every shadow feels alive. Every sound is a threat. Then headlights. A black SUV screeches to a stop ahead, blocking his path. The doors fly open. Dark figures step out. Trained. Professional. Deadly. Give us the manuscript. His pulse is a drum in his ears. Who are these people? Why are they willing to go this far to stop him? His mind spins. No way out, no one to call. Then, out of nowhere, a blinding flash. A motorcycle roars onto the scene, tires screeching. A hooded figure swings out a hand. Get on. No time to think. He leaps onto the bike just as bullets rip through the air. The engine growls, and they tear down the street, weaving through traffic as the city blurs past. He grips the stranger's shoulders, breathless. Who are you? He yells. The rider doesn't look back. Someone who knows exactly what you just found. The city rushes past in streaks of neon and shadow. His heart still slams against his ribs. He glances back. The black SUV is still chasing him. Headlights burn through the night. Engines roaring like predators locked onto their prey. Hold on, the rider shouts. The bike swerves hard into a narrow alley, barely squeezing between dumpsters and old brick walls. The historian grips tighter, the manuscript pressed against his chest. If he loses this, everything is gone. The SUV skids past, unable to follow. But that won't stop them. Not for long. Finally, the rider pulls into an abandoned warehouse, killing the engine. Silence. Just the sound of their breathing. The historian stumbles off the bike, adrenaline still racing. Start talking, he demands. Who are you? Why did you help me? The rider removes their helmet, revealing sharp eyes that have seen things. A scar runs along their jaw. My name doesn't matter, they say. But what you found? It does. The historian pulls out the manuscript. Faded ink. Fragile pages. Hidden knowledge. This was never meant to be lost, the writer says. But someone made sure it was. The historian swallows. What does it say? The writer looks at him, dead serious. It's not what it says. It's what it proves. A pause. History has been rewritten. The historian's breath catches. Rewritten? His mind races through everything he knows. Every textbook, every lecture, every record of the past. Could it all be a lie? He flips through the brittle pages, eyes scanning the ancient script. The words speak of lost discoveries, scientific breakthroughs, philosophical revelations, medical advancements that predate their so-called modern inventions, centuries ahead of their time. This changes everything, he whispers. The writer nods. That's why they don't want you to have it. A cold realization creeps up his spine. Who are they? The writer's face darkens. Powerful people. Ones who thrive on ignorance. The kind who build entire empires on stolen knowledge, convincing the world it never existed. The historian clenches his fists. So they erased it? Not just erased, the writer says. They buried it, and they've spent centuries making sure it stays buried. A tense silence. But why? The historian asks. The writer steps closer, voice low, because knowledge is power, and power is control. Before the historian can respond, a phone buzzes. The writer pulls it out. Their expression hardens. They found us. Outside, tires screech. The hunt isn't over. The historian's pulse spikes. He barely has time to react before headlights flood the warehouse, slicing through the broken windows. The low rumble of engines surrounds them. The writer grips his arm. We need to move. Now. A loudspeaker crackles to life outside. A cold, measured voice echoes through the night. There's nowhere left to run. Hand over the manuscript. The historian swallows hard. He looks at the fragile pages in his hands. Pages that hold the truth. He's no fighter, no spy, no hero. But deep inside, something tells him he can't let them win. The writer pulls a gun from their jacket. Checks the clip. They won't stop. Not until they have it. Or you're dead. The historian's hands tremble. What do we do? The writer exhales. We give them what they want. The historian's eyes widen. What? Are you crazy? After everything? The writer smirks. Not the real one. Before the historian can protest, the writer pulls out an identical manuscript from their bag. Aged, stained, a perfect forgery. They don't know it's real. Beat. Then bang. The doors burst open. Armed men storm inside, rifles raised. The cold-voiced leader steps forward, emotionless.
The manuscript. Now.
The historian's breath is shallow. This is it. The moment where everything changes. The writer meets his eyes. Trust me. And then the deception begins. The historian's fingers tighten around the fake manuscript. This has to work. If they see through the deception, it's over. The cold-voiced leader steps closer, eyes locked onto him. Hand it over. A single moment of hesitation could expose them. The historian takes a slow breath, steps forward, and extends the forged manuscript. His palms are sweating. The leader snatches it, flipping through the fragile pages. Silence. The tension in the air is suffocating. Then he smirks. You really thought you could hide it from us? The historian's stomach drops. Does he know? The leader lifts his hand, signaling his men. A soldier presses a radio to his ear. Copy that. We secured the document. The historian doesn't breathe. The leader snaps the manuscript shut. Kill them. Everything shatters. Gunfire erupts. The writer kicks over a crate, diving for cover. The historian barely dodges as bullets tear through wooden beams. Sparks flying. Adrenaline takes over. Run! The writer shouts. They sprint toward the back exit as the warehouse explodes into chaos. The historian clutches his bag, the real manuscript still safe inside. A bullet rips past his shoulder, barely missing. They are trapped. No way out. No escape. Then a deafening boom. The entire building shakes. Fire erupts from the side as an unseen explosion rocks the foundation. Sirens wail in the distance, flashing red and blue lights. No! The leader growls. Not now. The historian doesn't hesitate. He grabs the writer's arm and runs. Somewhere in the chaos, a voice echoes in his mind. Knowledge is power, and power is control. But now he has the knowledge. The cold night air burns in his lungs as they sprint through the alleyways, sirens wailing behind them. The city blurs, Streetlights flickering, shadows stretching, the distant sound of chaos. They escape for now, but it's not over, not even close. The rider pulls him into a hidden doorway, pressing a hand against his chest. We need to disappear. The historian's mind is still spinning. Disappear? After everything? We have to expose them. The rider shakes their head. You think they'll just let that happen? They control governments, media, history itself. If you go public now, they'll bury you before the world even hears your voice. His fists clench. He knows they're right. But the weight of the truth in his bag is unbearable. Then what do we do? The rider exhales, looking around. We find someone who can fight back. The historian scoffs. Who? Who could possibly take on people like this? The rider stares at him for a long moment. People have been waiting for a reason to... Silence. Then movement in the shadows. Figures emerge, hooded, masked, eyes sharp. Not enemies. But not ordinary people, either. The historian's breath catches. He's just stepped into something far bigger than himself. The rider looks at him one last time. Welcome to the real fight. And for the first time, he's the one in control. The historian watches as the hooded figures step into the dim light. Their eyes burn with purpose. These are not ordinary people. One of them, an older man with a thick beard and piercing gaze, steps forward. You carry something dangerous. The historian instinctively tightens his grip on the bag. The rider speaks first. They found the manuscript, but we switched it. The older man studies them, then nods. Then you understand what you hold. The historian's voice is raw. It's not just history. It's proof. Proof that we were lied to. That knowledge was stolen. A heavy silence. Then the older man speaks again. This isn't the first time they've done it, and it won't be the last. The historian's heart pounds. Then what do we do? The man looks at him with something strange. Respect. We tell the world, but not recklessly, not where they can silence us. The historian frowns. How? The older man turns to one of the others, who hands him a sleek, encrypted drive. The manuscript is powerful, but words can be twisted. We need action. We need undeniable proof. The rider crosses their arms. And you have that? A small, knowing smile. We've been preparing for this moment for years. He steps closer, placing the drive in the historian's hand. If you truly want to change the world, then you need to finish what you started. The historian looks down at the drive. He started this as a researcher, a historian. But now, he's something else entirely. A fighter. The older man's voice is firm. Are you ready? The historian looks up, breath steady. I am. The war for the truth has begun.